45 years ago, on a warm summer night in Delaware, Ohio, something extraordinary happened. From the far-off Sagittarius constellation, a strong and continuous radio wave traveled our way. It bounced off a flat dish tilted towards the sky, then bounced off another dish before reaching a detector. All this happened in an empty room with just the noise of a busy printer and a computer working away in the dark. In that room, the computer printout held proof of a special radio signal. Later, a technician brought the printouts to Jerry Emmons' house. Jerry, a volunteer, went through the pages with a red pen. Most of the numbers were small images, showing the strength of the signal. But then, he found something big. The sequence 6EQUJ5. It was the strongest signal he'd ever seen, and he circled it, writing, "Wow." You see, when this type of radio signal is printed, it comes in numbers, and when a signal is stronger than 9, it is assigned a letter. The letter A was equal to 10, and it would climb alphabetically, meaning this signal was, quite literally, out of this world. That was in 1977, and even after 45 years, the WOW signal is still the best hint we have of an alien radio message. My interest in the WOW signal is like an itch I can't ignore. Late at night, I often think about it, wondering what it was, who sent it, and what else might be out there. Hearing radio signals from space isn't anything new. There's a whole area of astronomy focused on mapping these signals in the sky. But the WOW signal is different. It's an unsolved mystery, a message from space that keeps us thinking about what might be out there, beyond what we know. Today, let us try to answer the most frequently asked questions. What was it? Who sent it? And what else could be lurking out there in the vast cosmic expanse? But before exploring what might be a little complicated, let us begin with what we already know. Now, I should probably apologize, as what I'm about to say could confuse our audience at home. I'm sorry, but these are things that should be pointed out. Firstly, the high signal-to-noise ratio is a critical factor. This ratio, indicating the strength of the signal compared to background noise, was exceptionally high in the case of the WOW signal. With a peak intensity 30 times greater than the ambient background, the probability of it being a random fluctuation was astronomically tiny. This rules out the possibility of it being a statistical fluke, making the WOW signal uniquely significant. Secondly, the signal's frequency is noteworthy. It almost precisely matched the famous frequency of 1420 MHz, also known as the hydrogen line. This frequency holds special significance as a potential wavelength for extraterrestrial communication. The hydrogen line is naturally quieter in the cosmic spectrum, reducing interference, and it corresponds to the fundamental electronic transition in the simplest atom, hydrogen. This makes it a plausible choice for advanced civilizations attempting to communicate across the vastness of space. Thirdly, the narrow-band nature of the WOW signal adds to its mystique. The signal was recorded in only one channel out of 50 possibilities, limiting its power to a 10 kHz window or possibly even smaller. With a frequency of 1420 MHz, this means that the bandwidth divided by the frequency is less than 7 parts per million, an incredibly narrow range. In the realm of natural radio sources, such narrow-band signals are exceedingly rare. Even notable examples like the Crab pulsar or fast radio bursts exhibit broader spectral ratios compared to the WOW signal. Lastly, the continuous nature of the signal during the 72 seconds of observation is a crucial factor. While the graphical representation may appear as a bell curve, this is expected due to the Earth's rotation. The continuous nature is significant because most satellites in low Earth orbit would pass through the WOW field too quickly to produce the observed 6-character sequence. For example, the International Space Station would traverse the WOW field in less than a second, resulting in a singular high digit rather than the persistent sequence of 6 observed. Now, let us try to understand. One theory is that maybe it's just a human-made satellite circling the Earth, like a super advanced space gadget. But here's the catch. It would need to be on a really wide orbit, kind of like doing a slow dance far beyond where most satellites hang out. That was a bit odd in 1977, the year this WOW signal made its debut. Now, here's another twist. The signal is using a special frequency, like a secret space channel. It's known as the hydrogen line, and everyone around the world agreed to keep it reserved for anything scientific. Spy satellites don't really fit the bill here because scientists worldwide are keeping a close eye on this particular frequency. It's like trying to send secret messages on a channel everyone is watching. Not so sneaky now, is it? There was even a wild suggestion that maybe it's a comet trying to chat with us. Sounds like a cool space tale, right? But turns out, comets don't really talk in that frequency, and the comets mentioned weren't even in the right place when the signal showed up. Now, let's sum up where we stand. Things line up to make the WOW signal seem quite promising for it being an alien. But on the flip side, we've got big gaps in our space knowledge that are a bit frustrating, and leave the door open for some skepticism about the WOW signal. Let's dive into these unknowns. Number 1, we don't know if the signal had a hidden message, like a cosmic postcard with a secret note. 2, we're still in the dark about where it came from, like getting a call but not knowing who's on the other end. Now, point number 3 is a bit weird. The signal was only heard in one part of the space listening gadget, not both. It's like hearing a song, but only in one ear of your headphones. A bit puzzling, right? Now, have we ever heard from it again? Shortly after the signal's discovery, astronomer Jerry Emin, who spotted the signal, took to the Big Ear telescope in the hope of witnessing its return. However, despite the anticipation of a 3-minute interval between signals, the cosmic radio waves remained silent, eluding detection in the subsequent months. In the late 1980s, Robert H. Gray stepped into the arena, utilizing the META array at Oak Ridge Observatory for his search in 1987 and 1989. Unfortunately, Gray's efforts proved fruitless, and the WOW signal continued to play hide-and-seek. Fast forward to 1995, and H. Paul Schuch, the executive director of SETI League, tried his luck during a test for Project Argus. Armed with a 12-meter radio telescope at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in Green Bank, West Virginia, Schuch scanned the WOW signal's coordinates. Yet, the cosmic airwaves held on to their secrets. Gray returned to the stage in 1995 and 1996, this time employing the Very Large Array, a telescope boasting superior sensitivity compared to Big Ear. The outcome, however, mirrored previous attempts. No recurrence of the WOW signal. Undeterred, Gray, alongside Simon Ellingson, resumed the search in 1999, deploying the 26-meter radio telescope at the University of Tasmania's Mount Pleasant Radio Observatory. 6 extensive observations unfolded, covering positions near the original signal location. Despite the heightened sensitivity of the equipment, the WOW signal remained elusive. As the 35th anniversary of the WOW signal approached in 2012, the Arecibo Observatory entered the scene. In a captivating move, Arecibo beamed a digital stream toward specific stars, including Hipparcos 34511, 33277 and 43587. This transmission comprised approximately 10,000 Twitter messages solicited with the hashtag #ChasingUFOs by the National Geographic Channel. To enhance the chances of recognition by potential extraterrestrial recipients, scientists attached a repeating sequence header to each message, amplifying the signal to about 20 times the power of the most potent commercial radio transmitter. Despite these concerted efforts spanning decades, the recurrence of the WOW signal remains an unsolved cosmic riddle, leaving scientists and stargazers alike to continue their quest for answers in the vast expanse of the universe. Unfortunately, you might have to wait a little longer to get to know more about aliens, because the WOW signal, while facing heightened skepticism, retains a slim chance of being a real repeating signal.